Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing today? Seems that something's going on here. Something's going on. All right. Looks like we're back. Little minor hiccup this morning. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, John. Good morning, Mark. Again, Mark with a C, Mark with a K. Patrick with a K. Good morning, Patrick. Lots of earnings this morning. I'm just going to go in order. This is not order. Everybody put the comments in. This is the order they popped up. Good morning, Sterling. I know you typed good morning later, but Goldman beat. JP Morgan beat. BlackRock beat. Lots of things down on beats. What else we have? If you're wondering why the market is down, China vows to fight the trade war to the end. But I thought trade wars were easy to win. Trade wars, I was told, were easy to win. Oh boy. So let's see. Are we going to talk about it? We will see what happens. Uh, what else? What else do we have? Let me get through this. There we go. Citigroup beat. There's Sterling's good morning. Yeah, China, we saw this. Rare earths export controls are lawful. Again, they control 70% of the market. Not a good position to be in if you want rare earths. Should have never got to that place. But Wells Fargo beat. Domino's Pizza beat. But CEO said again that people are cutting back. People are cutting back. So that's going to be interesting. But Domino's Pizza is still up over 3%. Johnson & Johnson beat. Down. Jacob, good morning to you. Good morning, OD Green. Ericsson, well, there's our miss. Look, if you miss on revenue, up 15%. There you go. Again. Oh, I got nothing to say with this market. Good morning, David. Albertsons was a beat, and they guided up. Albertsons also guided up. Good morning, Daniel. Hello, Charles. Good morning, Anissa. Sorry you got the man flu. So you get to have another early morning of Mike because you're sick. Now, I would rather have you be healthy and skip a good morning of Mike and you can watch it later. I'd rather have everyone be healthy. Good morning, Ted. How are you? All right. Again, we're getting to that cold and flu season. Everybody, take your vitamins, take your vitamin C. Good morning, Royal Palms. Make sure you get your exercise in, eat healthy. All right. Average new car over 50. I did not see that, David. Thank you for sharing. Average new car over 50,000 for the first time. Oh gosh. It's going to take when things fall off the that's when we're going to get some deflation. Unless they just go on a complete money printing spree, which will just but we need we need some outright deflation, which is not good for debt holders. However, I have nothing else to say. All right, the business optimism, if I could say the words, coming in at 98.8, down from consensus and forecast. Your red book. At least we still have our red book numbers to rely on, coming in at 5.9%, slightly up. We got Powell speaking. We got Waller speaking. We got Collins speaking. So, yay. Is anybody as sick as Fed speak as me? Can we just get rid of the Fed? Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Good morning, Rick. Oh, great. BlackRock's coming up with their own technology for tokenization of assets. Well, I actually like the idea of tokenization of assets. I think whether you use the blockchain or something else, I think, again, we should have all stocks on that and all transactions. I'm sorry. You know what? At least trace it back to the public entity that's doing it. Everything should be, you know what? If you put everything, if you tokenize or put everything on the chain, it could all be traced back, and then you make the public tokenization public, literally. All right, it's tied back to a whatever entity. It's tied back to a corporation or something. Fine, at least you know that they're doing it. I'm so tired of everything. I want to know who's juicing, like when 1,000 options, 0-day options go off. I want to know where it came from. Want to know. There's no reason we can't do it. Oh yeah, AMD shares rise pre-market says Oracle Cloud to deploy 50,000 of its AI chips. This is all a big circular clusterfuck. Good morning, Christoph. Wait till this AI thing unravels. Not saying AI is going away. Wait till the big circle jerk unravels. Because that's what it is. That's what it is at this point. The banks are parting like it's 2007. Wait till 2008 hits. You think we have a lot of assets out there entering bubble territory? If I hear it one more time, silver and gold are going to double. Can they keep going? Yeah. We're just, and again, I think it's going to take an unwinding of a lot of other assets to trigger the sell off. I think silver will go first, but gold is going to take some other assets starting to implode, and then we'll start to see the gold implosion. Dark screen, gold is overdone, time for a deep correction, and it can keep going until it doesn't. And I agree it's time for a correction, but again, it can keep going until. Don't underestimate the power of people chasing something. It happens over and over again, whether it's housing, whether it's meme stocks, now whether it's gold. Remember, by 2030, we will own nothing and be happy. Well, actually, in a couple more years, you'll afford nothing and be happy. Average car price, thanks to David Atkins, over 50K. Oh, all right. What is the cheapest car? Oh, not some weird off. What's literally the cheapest car you can, and not base price, because how many dealers actually bring in a complete stripped down model? But what's the actual realistically cheapest price you can get a new car? I'm curious on that. I'm really curious on that. 20,000 what? For a legitimate, not like a car you can't actually, unless you ordered it from the dealership with no options. But what is actually the cheapest car if you walk into a dealership you're likely to find on a dealership lot? I'm curious. Does percent B buy work on VIX? It works. It's not as high, but I do follow it. Is that 26,000 as a cheapest car? Is that what you're referring to, Rick? Can we check out TMC? We can check out TMC. For you Royal Palms, we can do it. As long as it's a company that's not a biotech being charged with securities fraud, we can look at it. Oh, boy. All right. Oh, there's your little Christmas green. Again, hey, this weekend, Countdown to Christmas on Hallmark Channel starts for all the Christmas fanatics. Don't ask me why I know that. But look, we got a little green in the sea of red. T-Mobile, AMD. There's your Wells Fargo. Everything else is a little red, including oil. Countdown to Christmas. Starting Saturday night. Is it Saturday? Is it Friday? I think it's Saturday. I'll have to double check that. It's high priorities. Everything's red. Everything's red. Consumer, cyclical, technology, and energy are the most red. Still have the rate cut for the end of October and for December. Fear and greed, we're not yet to extreme fear. Schiller P. Oh, man. Back below 40. Back below 40. Market's dirt cheap. Buy it all. Why is it red? It's $39.70. We should buy it all. Look at how cheap it is. All right. Thank you again, Sterling, for putting in the earnings. You pretty much covered them all. Can you see this graphic better? I redid it Well, again, I didn't make the original. It's Earnings Whispers. Earnings Whispers. If you want to keep a really good calendar, or if you want the Earnings Whispers, again, I don't have anything to do with them, but they make these beautiful earnings calendars, which I really like. Tomorrow, ASML, Progressive, Dollar Tree, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley. Those are your biggies for tomorrow morning. All right. High-end buyers are skewing the average, they say. Okay. What's the median price then, David? What is the median price? Remember, there's a difference between average and median. AI use has doubled at work since 23, but 95% of organizations don't see measurable ROI. See, again. And our AI company's making money. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. But we're going to, hey, you know what? Energy costs going to go through the roof because you can't build energy for something that doesn't make money. Does it have some uses? Yes. Is it going to revolutionize things yet? Well, you got to stop trading it on Reddit. I noticed on yesterday's rally, RSP did poorly and still about 55% of the stocks trade below their 50-day moving average. Thank you for that information, Christoph. So, Christoph, always another wonderful member here. Well, another wonderful person who tunes in. We have no memberships. Okay. All right. What am I looking at? Let's look at the big picture real quick. Again, we've returned to the weekly rotation zone. If we do start dropping below the open price and turn that into resistance, the gap open price, this gap open price is really, I mentioned it yesterday, we've dipped below it, but we have not turned it into resistance yet. Okay. See, it's still toying with this. Also, if we flip around our harmonics, now remember, the smaller they get, the less probability. But here's your key thing: where it spiked down, technically we closed above the 62.5 on the S&P barely. We came back down to 62.5, but we have not closed below it. So right around, what is it, 6,007 is the key closing. My warning sign is if we turn this open price, why am I watching the open price? Because everybody who rushed into, oh, look, the potential trade issues, potential 100% tariff, China's going to buckle, or Trump's going to buckle, whatever. Somebody's going to taco it. It's over. Boom. Not so quick, according to China. So, there's a reason China's been buying a lot of gold for the past while. It's not recent, it's for the past while. There's a reason. There's a reason. They're not stupid. They play in a longer term time frame. That's just fact. Again, not saying what they do is right. I'm just telling you they play in a longer term time frame. That's why they were early to the gold rush. So if we turn this open, why everybody who bought here and celebrated the rally turns it into, they're now underwater. Now, bigger picture, if we start turning this into resistance and close below the 6,007, I'll watch for a retest of the lows from Friday. If we break those lows, I'm watching for closer to the bottom of the rotation zone, specifically around 64.83. And then what would be, if we close below 62.5 on a daily basis, I'd be really watching that we could hit this 87.5, 64.26. We're not there yet. We have a fair amount of support down here. All right, we've got the 4-hour rotation zone holding. It held, even though we closed above the 62.5 yesterday, the 4-hour rotation zone, which is now again below the 62.5, is held. So minor stuff I'll be watching is around 66.81 on a rally. I'll be watching for potential 4-hour % B buys also. Like if we in the next 40 minutes, if this sets up a percent B buy bar and then we break above this high, I'll be looking at that for a return to the 4-hour rotation zone. Not necessarily long-term bounce hold yet. Just something I'll be keeping an eye on. And then we got to follow through with a close above the 4-hour rotation zone. And then from my perspective, we might be a little free and clear to at least test the 67.50, 67.55 area. Again, if we cannot hold this area and we turn 66.32, which is the gap, the technical gap open price is 66.32. Turn that into resistance. I will watch then for what could be an acceleration towards Friday's lows. And if we break those, I already gave the levels. Remember, Friday's lows came in really close to that 62.5 level. All right. What does I use earnings whispers for the calendar, but try to use TradingView for the actual earnings and revenues? Yes, I use TradingView for the earnings and revenues. And again, I don't play with whisper numbers. I don't try to, unless there's a pattern already that triggers before earnings. I don't try to look at the whisper numbers and then, oh, what again, you can beat, the stock can be down. Also, a lot depends on guidance. So they are creating a new money system. What is the new money system? Who is? In China is? Good morning, Jake. Gold back yuan. Trade with BRIC nations. Well, we shall see, because I think they'll be frozen out of the dollar once they go after Taiwan, which will happen. You watch. You watch. All right, NASDAQ, same difference, bigger picture. All right. Bigger picture with this pulling up price action. It's technically reconnected with the rotation zone. The area I'll be watching if we sell off in the NASDAQ is the 50%, this 24,084 to about 24,000 as my first area. If we take out the key levels on the NASDAQ, again, 24,542. 24, let me just anchor it there properly. 24,542 is the gap up open price. Dipping below it briefly. This could also set up a 4-hour percent beat buy. Aggressive trade only into potential. And for me, it would have to be taken on the break of there, and it would not be a hold if it cannot hold this 4-hour high. All right. Right now, 24,490 is roughly the key 4-hour closing basis. We start closing below that, 24,380, 24,269, 270. Sorry for the big snores in the background. Roscoe's sleeping right under my desk. All right, the Dow. The Dow is interesting. Again, let me jump back to NASDAQ. I forgot something. Again, NASDAQ still. Forgot something on here. Still into the rotation zone. It did close above the 62.5. That will flip again if we close back below the pullback 62.5. But right now, the key thing is to close above the 4-hour rotation zone and then following through back above roughly 25K. The Dow, we could be getting the first cross the rotation zone. It's caught between the rotation zone and the 50 EMA. We did close below it on Friday. If we break back below this 45,800 level, then I'm watching for the breakdown in the Dow. The 50% level, which we bounced off on Friday, is very key, 45,385. Then if we break down 45,145, and the major level is right around this 44,9, technically 44,911 on a closing basis. The Russell, On a 4 hour, I was watching for the daily close above here because it's on a daily time frame. This thing, it's closed above it on a 4 hour, but no close above it on the daily yet. So cautiously, I'm still watching for rollovers, but this will probably not turn. This is looks like it's not turning into a high probability one. If it does close like today above 2478.6, it's off the table for me, and it's taking a loss on the double. But 4 hour not follow through with the daily, and this was definitely a daily pattern. So right now, intraday, the gap open price for here, again, is holding up a little better. Christoph put in very interesting information a few minutes ago. 2450.5. We're not near it yet. The VIX still elevated. Again. But if we start dropping below 2125, going to be paying attention that we might try to sustain a little rally again. The VIX is not in panic mode yet. I mean, put it in perspective, this is not panic mode yet. But again, from a hedging perspective, I like lightening up a little on the VIX hedges and then still holding something should we get that accelerated drop off. But we're still against the weekly rotation zone, so even a bigger pullback takes us into the weekly rotation zone. We don't have a major topping pattern unless we get an outright crash pattern, which is again going to take something out of the blue. DAX breaking down below 24,370, coming back down to a key support level. DAX also forming a double top divergence, not a double top in price, but double top divergence pattern. Looks like this might be running out of steam again. Also, I'm paying very close attention if we start closing below the weekly rotation zone on that one. The notes for the 10-year futures, hitting first, not quite to the second target yet of the double. But the first target's well hit, yes, and so the stop or the invalidation point is raised. My stop would not be at the validation point personally. The yields retesting, we closed below the 62.5 on Friday. This was not a double top pattern because of where the target's extended to, so I had to use the 62.5 rule. The yields reconnecting yesterday with the 87.5 and bouncing. We do have a potential percent B buy setup against the rotation zone. That's only if the yields start rallying we do from yesterday have a percent B buy. It's all the way up here, right at the rotation zone. We might have another one set up tomorrow. We've already ticked off the 87.5 into very major support. So anything from me from the yield short side is over for the short term. Crude breaking the new lows, still breaking below this 58.18 level and bouncing above it. Possible percent B buy, aggressive. I'll be watching today's high for tomorrow. Natty gas, going to be looking at this little 4-hour potential bounce play against the rotation zone. Little 4-hour mini double. Gold spiking up. 41.86 was the next minor harmonic. 41.86 to 4,200, spiking in there and little reverse right there. We're still getting, besides this little outlier right here, we're still getting waning momentum. And we are still insanely overbought. So, yes, I'm on alert. We do not have a double top pattern. Again, anything back to the 8 EMA area, I'm still watching for bounce plays, but cautiously. Because this is just getting, again, can it keep going? Sure. But it's really, really, really overextended. Silver, 52.185 was the next harmonic. We'll see if this also gets us a pausing bar. Little pullback there into a very key prior support breakout area. Not yet back to the 80 MA. Going to still be watching to see if it makes a buy setup for, again, these bounces. What I'm going to be doing, looking at on bounces, is doing the retrace, the secondary bounce pattern. And so I'll be looking for the pullback, and then I'll be using the harmonics from the high to the pullback potential lows and really focusing on that 50 to 62.5 harmonic on the bounce patterns. Copper still rejected from that 50% multiple times now. So this very aggressive stop raise on this, because you start breaking back below about 4.9 and close below it, watching then for pullback potentially to the rising trend line in 200. Dollar index has a potential double top in it against the rotation zone, but again, we got not technically a divergence. We just got some waning momentum because it didn't make a new high and it didn't hit the 87.5 yet. But keeping an eye on this because it could lead to a slightly bigger pullback. This is one I would not personally short. If you're looking for the pullback right there. Good morning, Heinrich. What else do we have? The yen, also a little pause here, watching for a pullback into support before potentially future yen weakness. All right, we're gapping down. Here's our open, gapping downward. The spiders did not ever get above the 62.5. The spiders are sort of, why is that one? Oh, that's an old one. Hold on. The spiders, if we do take out the 50, I'm watching for 646.62. Other than that, yesterday's low to open price is key resistance. Sorry about going so long into the open. If you have to leave, I understand. So key resistance, especially the 660.65 area gap open. Major support coming back down at the 652.91. The Qs, again, first on any rally would be to the lows. To the lows, 597.23, the lows of yesterday, and then to the gap open price, 611.40, and then it go to the gap close. All right, very key, a lot of key support right around this 590 to 590.20 area. Bitcoin rolling over first cross rotation zone, but still in consolidation. Going to be seeing if the Bitcoin can pull back to this between 109 269 and 108 134 and holding that. If it does break the 200, watch out. It would also be breaking a pretty major support level. What else do we have going on here? Let's check that. I do not use a 30-minute chart. Is that you had, where was it? Potential 30-minute inverse head and shoulders on the ES. I'll put up a 30-minute for you. Yeah, I'd really watch, though, if you're using a 30-minute, I'd watch right around 66.50 for the follow through. Again, it has not triggered yet. Where'd the tick open? Pretty negative tick today. So let's see if that does hold or if we roll over. We're going to watch to see with this tick bounce where the bounce takes us. So again, if we start turning 66.32 into resistance, then I'm going to be watching for that sell-off. If we hold here, and now looks like we're, unless we stage a massive rally in the next 27 minutes, looks like we could be setting up for a potential %B buys still. So I'll be watching this 4-hour bar high. Okay. Again, I would be very patient going into this open personally. What else do we have? What did I forget? What stock did I forget from TMC? TMC, the metals company. Well, you got major divergences up there on the 4-hour. You got divergences on the daily. Key area would be just above 8, between 810 and about 890 for a pullback here. Very overbought. Again, but is there a massive sell pattern yet? No. There's still a pullback pattern and then the secondary bounce. So, where do the harmonics land? Yes, right in front of that 50%. So, would I be chasing it higher at this point? No, I would not. Non-energy minerals. The metals company does not make money. So, continues to get bought up. Again, that would be an aggressive buy, and then it could be setting up. So a lot of these things could be setting up more significant topping patterns on the next rotation back up. Just keep that in mind. All right, NASDAQ taking its time to break down. NASDAQ also might have a very sloppy potential double bottom here on a virtually the same potential trigger area as the %B buy. So again, there might be bounce setups, but nothing materializing yet. Nothing materializing yet from my perspective. Man, the VIX is good and bad at the same time. All right, everyone. With that, I got a lot of alerts going off, so I've got to run. I shall talk to everyone later. Bye for now.